Great. Welcome to our low carb class on this Whip It Up Wednesday. I hope you've all had a fantastic midweek. Tonight we're presenting some low carb dishes, some different ways that you can present some meals which are fast, fresh, and have that low carb benefit if that's the sort of meals that you're looking for. We're going to be doing a couple of meals and a couple of snacks, which is great. So we have Geraldine here from Ballarat. How are you, Geraldine?
Very good. Thank you, Tracy.
That's good. Now are you out near Buninyong Way?
Yes, I am.
Yep. And we've got Mary from pretty much central Ballarat having a beautiful glass of red. How are you, Miss?
Thank you. I'm very well. I'm onto my red and feeling very happy.
Awesome. And so you should be. And we've got the wonderful Belinda here from Ballarat, pretty much Ballarat Central, I would say. He's going to be helping us get through our session tonight. So before anything else, I'd really like to just get started. So we're going to head off to Geraldine. And would you like to tell us what you're making tonight, Geraldine?
Sure. I'm making the mushroom bolognese, and I've got a couple of adaptations. One of it is because I'm vegan, I don't actually use the cheese. I just skip it. And another one is that I'm putting zoodles on top to actually what do you call it? I'm actually going to steam it while it's going on. Okay, but this is not actually in the recipe, but you can always adapt recipes, you know, to suit how the way you eat and the way you cook. All right. So I'll just start right now. Okay, I'm gonna do the start cooking, and I hope you know that the screen of your Thermomix, if you scroll all the way, you can see everything in the all the recipes, the preparation time, the ingredients and everything. So I'm just gonna start cooking, and I'm using that. So it says here, 20 grams of dried porcini mushrooms, and I absolutely love porcini because it just makes everything so flavorful. So I'm gonna put in 20 grams, and the scales have already been set up for me. I'll just tare it. Okay. And I've got 21 grams, so that's fine. Okay, and I've got this on my lid, tilt and twist. I'll click next. Okay, and then it's gonna be grinding it for 50 seconds at speed 10.
I love the idea of blitzing down your own porcini salts and things, getting dried mushrooms, blitzing it down with some salt. You can put on steaks or salads or on the barbecues. Another great way to use up some dried mushrooms, isn't it?
Tracy, I often do, and Jerry, I often do this and put it into my mushroom risotto.
Yes, yum.
Give it that extra bit of lusciousness and depth of flavour, umami flavour.
It is. The umami is fantastic. I love that. I love mushrooms.
I do too, even though I love meat too.
You can even put it through sausage rolls and pasties and things like that for a bit of extra depth of flavour as well.
All right, it's fantastic. It's now, okay, I'm just going to wait for it to go. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, you can see that. And then I'm just going to, it says to transfer into a small bowl and set it aside so it's going into the same bowl. And there you go. I don't have to rinse it or clean it up. That's fine. Okay, next step is 40 grams of Parmesan cheese. Now, because sometimes I will actually use vegan Parmesan cheese, but because I don't have any handy right now, I'm just going to skip this step, and it's actually still really good. All right, so we'll skip that, transfer into a small bowl, skip that, rinse a mixing bowl. Well, I'm not going to because it's just a porcini mushrooms. Now, 200 grams of mixed vegetables is what it's asking me for. Celery, example celery, carrots, and onions, all right? So I've got celery here. And sometimes, even though it says 200 grams, and because I like to bulk it up, I sometimes will put in, maybe, you know, up to 100 grams to 200 grams more. So long as I don't go over that max point in the Thermomix, it's usually all right. So right now I've got, how much do I have over? Around 320, something like that. Yeah, so that's fine. Okay, next, 1 garlic clove. And now I know, you know, some I think, Mary, you've said this to actually remove the scapes from it so that it's not so bitter. Yeah, but I haven't done that, but that's all right. And I've got two, so you can always adapt your recipe if you like a lot of garlicky flavor. I've got 2 garlic cloves instead of 1. Okay. Olive oil, 20 grams of that. So and this is a sprayer that I've got from the mix shop. It's brilliant. I love spraying it, especially for, things like for the air fryer or whatever. And it really does moderate your use of oil, which I don't use very much of. So actually, I might actually even reduce it to maybe 10 grams or something like that, which is also fine. I do all these adaptations all the time, and the recipes still turn out fantastic. So, and
That's
it's
a
really,
beautiful.
yeah, go ahead. What were you saying, Tracy?
I said that's the beauty of guided cooking. It's not concrete. It's not set in stone. You can adjust the ingredients to your taste or your preference. Absolutely.
Tracy and Jerry, I have one rule of thumb I tell my new customers.
Yes.
Do it to the letter the first time.
Yes.
Then play and make it your own.
Exactly right, because otherwise you won't know how the recipe tastes. So you're fine to adapt the second time or whatever. But look, once you've done the recipe, like 10, once you can actually adapt. So now it says, sorry, I didn't see that, so I'm going to go backwards. Scrape down the sides of the mixing bowl with spatula, but it's actually pretty well scraped down. So I'm just going to put it in. It's fine. And it says without measuring cup. Next, and it's going to do it for 6 minutes at 100 degrees at speed 1. Now, while this is going on, I'm going to show you how I do my zoodles. So this is half done. So this is a zucchini that I am just making this, and I don't have, well, actually I do, but I'm actually too lazy to take it out. One of those things that are contraptions that you can actually twist and twist and twist. I find it really easy with just a peeler. This peeler is from the kitchen tool kit, which is one of the offers on for this month. But yeah, it's just easy. You just basically just peel it, and it just comes out in long strips. And then when you have enough, you just use that. So I've got 2 zucchinis here, but because my kids don't really like zoodles, they'll probably use the sauce with pasta. I'm just gonna do 1 zucchini right now. All right. And you can do this with zucchini. You can do this with carrots. It's just, I haven't actually tried it with celery. I'm thinking it might be stringy. Has anyone done that with any other vegetables other than carrots and zucchini?
You probably do parsnip, like for parsnip chips would be my idea, because I find those peelers amazing. They're so sharp.
Yes.
The whole kitchen toolkit, I think, is amazing. I've actually filleted with my family on a holiday a whole ocean trout that my boys very, very excitedly caught, and there was no good knives where we stayed, so we filleted a whole big ocean trout, big knife. Yeah,
that's fantastic,
and it's still sharp.
Wow. Yeah. So all this time when it's actually cooking and you don't actually have to pay attention to the what it's doing, you can do so many things. You can do the rest of the prep. You can clean up your kitchen. You can watch TV. You can have a glass of wine like Mary and Belinda. Lots of things that you can do while it's doing your guided cooking, and it will never burn because you've got your timer set and you've got your temperature set. And that's the part I love most about the Thermix. It'll tell me when it's ready. So yeah. What else? So the next thing, and the other thing I wanted to say is sometimes, because I don't use as much oil as some of the recipes that I've adapted, what happens is that sometimes I actually will reduce some of the cooking time. And especially if I'm using a meat recipe and I'm substituting vegetables for it, what I do, because vegetables don't need as much time to actually cook, what I actually do is I just cut down the cooking time. Okay, so because it's safe, I'm not going to get E. coli or whatever from vegetables, unless once it's washed properly. So there's a lot of adaptations you can do to your Thermomix and the recipes and everything. So, but as Mel says, cook it first, the first time round, and then when you're actually done, you can actually then you can actually adapt it. And yeah.
Hey Jerry, could you show
Yes.
me how thin your zoodles are and what length you've got there, just so I can have a.
Sure. So they look like that.
Oh, they're
And
perfect.
Yeah. So they're really good. And look, zoodles can actually be eaten raw. You don't actually have to blanch them if you don't want to, or steam them. I know there are recipes that are raw, you know, the raw foodies there. So lots of people eat carrots and zucchini raw, which is fine because once the sauce is on it, the hot sauce is on it, it actually will, cook it a tiny bit, just a tiny bit. So that's fine. Yeah. So, but I'm going to try it in the Varoma today, just adapting it, just to get a little bit of steam going there, and we'll see how it looks like later on. So yeah.
So that'll be later when you're cooking it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's done. I'm gonna actually put in. Okay, it says add 400 grams of fresh mushrooms cut in quarters, and it's mushrooms of choice. Okay, so there's actually another. I think another mushroom bolognese recipe. I think it might be from USA, another collection. And I looked at that one as well. But because this one, I only had button mushrooms, I decided to use this one. But usually you can really, it's easy to sub mushrooms one for another. But this one just uses mushrooms of choice. And these are cut in quarters. So I'm just going to.
Jerry, how much mushrooms?
400 grams.
Wow.
400 grams of mushroom. Yeah, quite a bit.
Well, it's a meaty vegetable anyway.
Sorry?
They're a very meaty vegetable.
Yes, very true. So I've got, exact 406 grams, which is fine. And then we've got another 20 grams of olive oil. So I'm going to spray this again. As I said, it's just because it's easier to pour it, but because I don't use that much oil, I find I'm okay with using the sprayer. Okay, so, and then as I said, I've adapted these before. So, and sometimes if I don't have any olive oil, I just skip it entirely. You just add in water for that. Okay, insert measuring cup into the mixing bowl lid. Okay, and it's chopping it for 4 seconds.
4 seconds. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
You wouldn't even pick up a knife in 4 seconds.
No. Okay, just scrape down the mixing bowl with spatula. Oh, I've got to get my spatula. Yep, that's fine. Hang on, because I don't have it right now. So this is what it looks like right now. And I'm just going to scrape it down. We'll grab my spatula once it's cooking. I've left it in the kitchen. All right, without measuring cup again. So I hope everyone knows about the tilt and twist way of putting on the lid. This is the easiest way when the bowl is hot. Tilt it and twist it, and that ensures that the seal is actually completely inside the bowl. Now it's going to be cooking for 4 minutes. And and I think you're gonna jump over to
Thanks, Jerry. That looks awesome. So we're going to pop back a bit later on. But in the meantime, we're going to pop over to my house.
Yes, I'm going to carry on with the recipe, and I'll just describe it later on when
awesome.
when I come back to me. Yep. All right. Thanks, Trace.
Okay, guys. So what I'm making tonight, I'm going to make a couple of things because I wanted to show you how to do a really quick low carb chicken filling. And also we're going to be doing a chicken teriyaki, which is absolutely delicious. So we're going to start with the chicken teriyaki first. Now my Thermomix has decided to turn itself off. I'd love to know if anyone's made this dish, and you can pop it in the chat for me. So this is a mixture of really fresh ingredients and a beautiful teriyaki flavour. So it's very, very simple, and it's a great one you can make sort of, you could double it and have the leftovers for lunch the next day if you wanted to. So I've saved it onto my meal plan. I'm just going to pop over onto this Thermomix over here. I'm not, because that's just sign myself out. I'll do it here. It always happens when I go live, doesn't it? Anyway, here we go. Chicken teriyaki. So as Geraldine said before, it's all the details are here for us. Particularly right down the bottom, you'll see all the protein, carb and fat count. So if that's something that's important to you when you're actually following a low carb diet, you can definitely check on those things as well. So first of all, we want to steam some chicken, which I've done previously. So I basically had 500 grams of water and some chicken thigh in the varoma, and I've steamed them down. The recipe said to discard the steaming juice. I'm not throwing this baby out. This is full of chicken and goodness. So I'm going to use that as a base for a soup that I'm going to be making tomorrow. So remember, that's just it's got beautiful chicken stock through that. So definitely waste not, want not. Okay, so
can I interrupt very quickly? So this recipe uses steamed chicken. So I can't find it on Cookie Dough because the one I've just found is that.
This one is called chicken teriyaki.
It's I had trouble with mine. It's a UK low carbs book.
Okay. No, the one I sort of just put one in the chat. So look, I won't try and, it was a skinny mixer one and it wasn't steaming the chicken. So I'll just stop and let you keep going.
No worries. This is saved a different one. I'm just going to keep going here. This one is using the high heat function for the chicken. So I've actually steamed it. So I'll switch between two. So there's two ways. You can do the high heat function or you can steam it previously, which is fine. Okay, so set the chicken aside to let it cool down for a little bit. Now we want to add in some shallots, which I've got here. So here's my chicken. Fine. Shallots, 100 grams of red capsicum. And these are just cut into little 2 to 3 centimetre pieces. And the beauty of having all those different recipes is, depending on what you prefer and what you like, you can definitely suit to your own taste, that's for sure. 50 grams of carrot. Yep. Once again, you can sub out these vegetables if you wanted to. And 30 grams of snow peas, which I've just done. Some broccoli broken into little pieces. So they're just little florets here. So we want 120 grams. So these beautiful fresh are just going in exactly like they are. So there we are there, beautiful fresh veggies. We need to add in 20 grams of olive oil. Just tear it back. Oh, I know what I did. Ah, this is good. I'm an idiot. But anyway, happy days. You know what I did, girls? I've got my steamed chicken for my filling, not for my chicken teriyaki. So, but that's okay. We'll continue on and I'll cook the chicken after. That's what happened. So doing too many things at once. Okay, it's asking me to put the splash guard on, which I've got here. And that's just so because we're going to go through the high heat. We don't want any of the oil to spit out of the top. So it set the time, the temperature, and the wiggly lines sets the maximum temperature. So I'm just going to turn the dial and it's good to go. So over here, what I'm going to do, close that one. I'm going to bring up that recipe again and show you the chicken because I got a bit mixed up, but that's okay. It's a beauty of having chicken mixes that you can win. Okay, let's show you the high heat function for the chicken. 10 grams of oil. As Geraldine said, we can do a bit less if we want to, depending on whatever you like. With the high heat, it's really a good idea to stick with precise measurements though, so the Thermomix knows exactly what's in it and what's expected. So I've just done these in chicken strips. They're just like thin strips of the chicken thigh. That's just going straight into the bowl. And that's 250 grams. So if you wanted to do more for this recipe, you could easily, that's cooking for 5 minutes. You could easily do one batch and then go back and add another 250 grams to make a bigger batch if you wanted to feed the whole family. Another option you can do is to cook some rice or some vermicelli noodles to go with this, which would be absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you guys can hear. Can you hear any of this sizzle? No.
No, can't hear the sizzle.
Oh, it's just amazing. Wish we had smell-o-vision as well, because it smells awesome. Now, while we're waiting for that, there's another recipe I want to show you, and this is where I'm going to use my chicken. So there's a recipe on Cookie Do. It's in the low carb collection, and it's called curry chicken wrap. And it's basically, we're going to steam the chicken, curry it down and shred it. So we've got a beautiful filling for wraps or sandwiches or anything like that. Now, this recipe you can have cold, or you can actually put it in toasted sandwiches as well. Quick and easy. So what I did, 250 grams of chicken, I steamed before in the Verona. So just exactly what Jerry's going to show us a little bit later on. We have our Verona on top, and we're steaming the chicken on top of that. We're going to shred that down when this is finished, and add some curry and some turmeric and show you an absolutely beautiful, beautiful chicken filling. So this has only got 2 minutes to go. What other high heat functions have you tried, girls? What other high heat recipes have you guys tried? So they're a bit low carb.
Oh, the stroganoff, I think, comes under that. Yep, the beef.
Creamy coconut chicken curry, or you could make it vegetarian just because it's got the caramelization of the onions.
Yep, beautiful. Here's the low carb book. So this is one of the collections. This is the Australian collection that we also have a book. And in this, there's some great recipes and there's some great information. And this is something that Cookie Do is fantastic, but the recipe books have got a lot of information that you don't get sort of inside the recipe. So they talk about what approach is best, what low carb means, how to read the back of ingredient lists, all those types of things. So it really is up to you how you want to adapt your recipes and what range of the low carb diet you want to go to. So the keto is anything under 20 grams of carbs for the day. Low carb is registered at around about 150 to 100 grams of carb a day, looking at a low carb diet. So on Cookie Do, where you can find all these wonderful things, there's a new version coming out, which is due in a couple of weeks, and you're going to be able to adapt your own recipes. So if you find a recipe you love and there's no low carb option, like Jerry's just done with the zoodles there, you can actually copy it into your own Cookie Do and change the recipe up, which is absolutely amazing. Talk to your consultant more around the changes for Cookie Do. Recipes that you created yourself, you can put and download so they're all guided for you. Absolute game changer. So the vegetables have now finished. It's asking me to transfer them into a bowl where I'm going to grab my thermoset. These are wonderful host rewards. I'm sure most of you have got a few of these. You haven't got 3 at your house or 4. You need to host your own demonstration to get yourself some more. There's our beautiful fresh fish. Look at that. Yum. That's going straight in. So they've got a little bit of high heat on them, not too much. They've still got some beautiful texture and crunch, so they're not going to be soggy or anything. Put them straight in. Let's get the carrots out. The chicken, it smells absolutely beautiful. So we're just going to sit that there and keep that warm for a couple of minutes. And next, what else is it telling me to do? Okay, it's telling me to scrape the base of the mixing bowl really well. So anytime you're doing high heat, you'll see there's a bit of caramelization on the base of the bowl. Make sure you give that a good scrape because we want to get all that goodness off the bottom of the bowl, definitely. Do not clean the mixing bowl. Love it. Add some fresh ginger. Well, I'm a bit naughty. I don't really like ginger much. So I'm just going to put a pinch of ginger in there. I'll just turn that one off. It's asking for 10 grams of garlic. Once again, you can't ever have too much garlic, so throw that in. Insert measuring cup. And speed 7 for 8 seconds. Let's all chop that down nice. Scrape down the sides, which we've got here, which is absolutely beautiful. If you could smell this, yum.
It'll be better with ginger though, Tracy. Unlike you, I love ginger.
I know, I don't know why I don't like it that much, because I just love the smell of it. I don't know.
Like me, coffee. Love the smell, don't like the taste.
Oh, it's bizarre, isn't it? Now I'll just grab some soy. It's asking for tamari sauce. I didn't have it, so it doesn't matter. Use what you've got. So this is just a bit of soy. Tamari is just a little bit sweeter and a little bit thicker, but this will be all right. Just do a little bit less. It's asking for 30 grams of honey. So what we're doing now, we're making the actual the sauce for the stir fry, basically. So 30 grams of honey. That's good enough. 2 teaspoons of gluten-free flour, 2 teaspoons of water, insert measuring cup. So don't put the gluten-free flour in the bowl. Get your teaspoon of water, pop it in a little cup like I've got, a little bowl, and add it to the corn flour first, and then give it a pre-mix. That's just so it's not going to glug up our sauce. It's going to be nice and thin.
Fluid.
And beautiful. Also a great tip when you're doing soups and things too, always mix it up in a little bit of a bowl first, wouldn't you say?
Tracy, whenever Chinese put it into their soups, they always do it with an egg. An egg white. With an egg white. Yeah, same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that, because they do that with when I make the chicken and corn soup.
Yes.
It brings that gelatinous
without
to the soup, but also
gluggy,
pulls it up
big
really
glass.
nicely.
Yeah. They're very clever, those Asians.
Absolutely. Now this is cooking down for 3 minutes. And then when we come back, we're basically just going to pour it over the chicken and we're done. So earlier on, I was going to do the chicken wrap, but I might do that later, Miss. Do you want to do yours for now?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Are we going to me now?
Yep. Beautiful.
Yep. Okay.
I'll just flip you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Add, and I'll be gone, and I'll be back after.
Okay, see you soon. Mine doesn't take very long. Anyone that knows me will know that I'm more a wine and olive and cheese girl, but I'm actually doing the sweet tonight. So I made some pre-prepared, which I'll just show you. So Tracy suggested these chocolate peanut butter protein balls. So I don't know if you can see this from here, but they actually look quite decadent. So I've got a couple here that are uncovered with the chocolate and these with the chocolate. And I'm, one of my colleagues and I, Belinda, who's on tonight, have been really talking about how we need to get ready. We need to be ready for our, when we can get out and we can celebrate. So I think these are going to be a great little addition. So I'll get onto the recipe first. So this is guided cooking, but because I've pre-done it, if you look on your left-hand side of your screen above the timer, there's 3 little bars. So it says my recipes, my week, recently cooked. I'm going to go to recently cooked, and they're usually in alphabetical order. And here we are, chocolate peanut butter protein. So start cooking. So I worked today, so I was a bit lazy and just went down to bulk source and basically got everything from there. So shame Janet isn't on. So we've got 70 grams of unsalted peanuts. I had to hide these from my boys because they were having a beer before. So 70 grams of unsalted peanuts. Nearly there, 63. 72. What's that among screens? So 72. Next, insert your measuring cup and lid. The teacher in me would like to say that differently, but we won't get into that. Next, so for 20 seconds, all I've got to do is turn the speed selector up to 9. So it's grinding.
How lucky we can mill all our own nuts and seeds and all those sorts of things.
You won't hear that here, but it's done. And anyone that I actually sent out a newsletter today talking about how you can make your own almond meal and your own hazelnut meal. Peanuts, by their very essence, have got a high oil content. So for me, I don't buy almond meal or any meals. When you've got the whole nut, you're able to do that very quickly. So I've done this for 20 seconds. So this is halfway between a meal and a butter. So you can see it's sort of sticking, and oh, they do smell good. They're very nice peanuts. So you can sort of see they're just in there. They're not quite a meal, but they're not quite a nut butter. So they've started to release some of the oils. Scrape down the sides, and then we're going to add 70 grams of smooth peanut butter. Now, we aren't actually a peanut butter house here. The main person that gets the peanut butter here in our house is the dog in the end of his column. However, if you are into peanut butter at your home, you have got the perfect machine to make beautiful preservative-free peanut butter. So this one here is a smooth one that I have made. So 70 grams. I'd love to know if anyone in the chat bar wants to let us know that they've made their own peanut butter. I've done it a few times, but again, we actually don't eat it very much here. I don't know why. I don't mind a bit of peanut butter on fresh bread. It's just not something that we eat. I don't know why.
I love peanut butter on toast, Naz.
Yeah, on fresh toast. It's funny, Trace, because the funny thing is that I actually do enjoy it when I have it, but it's not something I look for. And yet we eat a lot of nuts here. After the peanut butter, we're going to have 90 grams of pitted dates. And because I went to bulk source, I bought the really good one, the Merridew. So if you can just have a packet of, pitted dates in your pantry that you buy at the supermarket, just be very sure to check when you put them in because I've made sticky date pudding with pitted dates and I found a pip in it. I could hear it. So just be a little bit careful, not good for teeth. So 90 grams of pitted dates. Maybe this is why these beautiful dates made these balls taste so beautiful. 79, I might need one more. So one of the things I love about bulk source is the fact that you can choose how much you like. I could buy 900 grams of those, or I could buy one date. And I actually love having a choice without all the packaging. So we've got 88, that'll do. The other half dates for me. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So I love this Halila. I love the fact that you can just go squirt, done. Into my little cooking drawer. And it says 1 teaspoon of agave syrup. So I actually have some of that, but I couldn't find it. But I do have a beautiful maple syrup. So again, you could use honey, you could use maple syrup, something that gives you just that lovely little bit of liquid sweetness without being really sweet, because you've already got your dates. So I'll just do that by eye. I've had a wine. I reckon that'll be okay. And
The eyes are seeing all right, miss.
sorry, Dal.
They're seeing all right with that wine.
Oh, I'm really happy.
That's good. Who wouldn't be with
Monday,
that?
Tuesday, alcohol-free days. I love having a glass of wine on Wednesday. So for 10 seconds, speed to turn to speed 7.
There's some fantastic protein ball recipes on Cookie-Doo as well. So if you would just to go into your search bar and Google up protein balls or low carb balls, there's some great recipes in there for you as well.
Look, I actually do love the ball recipes. This has got, I'm trying to think of, there's something this reminds me of. Now, I'm not a sweet girl. I don't know whether it's a slightly Snicker bar smell I can smell, but maybe it is. There it is there. So it tells me now to form the mixture into small balls, approximately 20. And I remember thinking, oh, 20? But when I had a taste of one, small balls, they're enough. So it's crumbly, but all you've got to do is form it into your hands. And again, you can be as generous or as frugal as you like, but I would say they're about a walnut size, which is what I've done previously here earlier today. So they're been cooling in the fridge. The next part of the recipe tells you to clean and dry your mixing bowl, because I'm kind of lucky because I've got another one. I've got another bowl here. It tells me to put 130 grams of dark chocolate solid. So I actually made some before and I only used half of it. So I'm just going to put those in here, back in, and it tells me to insert my measuring cup. And for 4 minutes on 40 degrees, all I've got to do is basically melt the chocolate down. Now, while that's happening, I just thought I'd very quickly tell you a couple of things. In the past, before we had this amazing machine, if you were to make a chocolate cake, you would have to, or melt chocolate, you would have to put a saucepan of boiling water over a beautiful bowl. You'd have to be very careful that the water didn't get near your chocolate. You can temper chocolate this at 50 degrees. So this is where this is really clever, in that you're using one vessel for so many different things. So while that's doing that, I just thought these are the ones I made earlier, and I'll be honest, I'm actually not a sweet girl. I had 2 of them. So that's half the mixture. But with Bliss Balls, one of my lovely customers told me this. She was autoimmune compromised, had 4 children, very busy. So she said when she makes her Bliss Balls, she doubles or triples the recipe, and instead of making them into balls, she puts them into a slice. So this is a baby slice recipe, but I just thought I'd show you that if you wanted to, you could turn it into a slice. So rather than just having little balls, you've got options. And for me, anyone that knows me, I love one recipe that can go several ways. I don't like, I mean, every now and again, you can have a really clever recipe that you just use for one purpose. But I love if you can mix things up and make them go different ways. So sliced balls. And when I was looking at these tonight, because this chocolate, and it is particularly beautiful chocolate down at bulk sauce, it's a French dark little buttons. So this I could see at Christmas time. So I was thinking, while the chocolate's still wet, you could put some cut pistachios and some cranberries and look really Christmassy. If you want to go really, really decadently, you could use some of the gold leaf, and then you'd have these amazing little things that you've pre-done. You can have your 1 or 2 or 3 champagnes, because we're all going to get excited when we can be together. And these are all pre-done. So, you know, there's 3 different ways that you can use one recipe, and they're actually healthy. You know, okay, low carb, yes, higher fat because you've got nuts and dates, but they're really good on your system. So for me, that's a tick, 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 tick. And I'll show you just this chocolate that should nearly be melted because it's half.
It's all whole foods, Mary. All no preservatives.
I'm seriously into whole foods. So the recipe actually tells me to add a fourth, and I'm nearly finished now, but I'll use one of these. If I had my skewers, you could just put a skewer in and then literally do it to the bowl.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. And
it's going to keep it nice and liquid because the bowl's going to keep it warm. Yeah.
Absolutely. And look at that. And I don't think you need me to do 20 of these, but I just think that is a really good recipe to put in your repertoire for, sorry, I won't use that fork again, for Christmas and for entertaining, because everyone, it's not too long away and we are going to be out connecting once again.
Yeah.
All right, back to you girls.
Thank you. I'll just check in.
Thanks.
They look absolutely awesome. I'm just going to check in on Geraldine. I've popped in the wrong person there. It's Spotlight. Hi, Belinda. How are you going?
Oh, I'm good.
Jerry, are you still going through your 15-minute cook?
Yes, I've got 1.5 minutes left for that.
Okay. Well, what I might do, if it's okay, I might just zip over and I'll show you this chicken filling that I was going to make.
Sure.
How's that sound? Okay.
Right.
Okay, so this one is in the low carb book. Now I've finished the chicken teriyaki, just so you can see, have a look at that. I'm so happy with that recipe. I've made it so many times and every time I just love it. It's beautiful. So these are, as I said before, this is in the low carb collection and this is curried chicken salad wraps. So you can either make your own wraps if you wanted to go with it. You could use it in toasties with, low carb bread you can buy these days, or whatever you wanted to do. So basically we had to steam some chicken, which I've done previously. Here it is. And now it's cooled down, so I'm going to shred it for you. So to start the recipe midway through, all I do is I click on where I want it to start. It's asking me to place reserved chicken in the bowl, which I've done. Next, insert measuring cup, and it's asking me to go for 10 seconds. I'll just get it bowled. Lucky we've got all these bowls, girls. I'll be lost without my second bowl. 10 seconds, speed 4, reverse. So you're seeing they were just chicken thighs cut into thirds, so they weren't small pieces. Beautiful, shredded chicken. Can't beat that, 4 seconds. Okay, transfer into a bowl and set aside. So I'm just going to pop it back.
Tracy, can I just qualify something? Was that on reverse?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to pulverise our chicken. So we're literally just wanting to break it apart. We don't really want to cut it as such. So there's our shredded chicken. It's asking for some coriander, which I don't like. So here we go again. We're going to change it all up. Spring onions, where are they? Here they are. Some spring onion. Some toasted pine nuts, 50 grams. I'm actually going to put some of these on this teriyaki chicken as well. That looks amazing.
That would make a very, very appealing from a visual point of view salad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The recipe says raisins, but I don't worry about raisins.
I hate meat and dried fruit. I hate meat and fruit together.
So here we've got our spring onions and our pine nuts, and we've just blitzed them down for 3 seconds. Have a look at that. Yum. It's asking us to add some mayonnaise. Now, there's a lot of different mayonnaise recipes on Cookie Do. There's some beautiful cooked mayonnaise recipes. There's a keto mayonnaise recipe as well if you're into that, low carb. So definitely have a look and see what suits you and your dietary requirements, because there's definitely plenty there for you to choose from. And as we said before, you can just mix it round to suit whatever you need to do. 2 teaspoons of curry powder. This is very similar to the old curried egg recipe. Your classic curried egg.
Oh, see, we had curried chicken pie tonight.
Oh, yum.
It was yummy. My boys are happy.
Now, once we've got all our curry and mayo and all that in there, I'm going to show you. This is a great one for lunches. We're going to add back our shredded chicken. Now, if you hear something going off, my robo-back has just started himself. So the joys of being a consultant, I love it. We get all this stuff that we don't have to do any work. It just does it for us. And we're going to mix that around on speed 1. We're done. Check this out. I'll pop it on a little plate. But you basically grab a tortilla, pop it in the middle with some spinach or some lettuce of your choice, whichever you like. Wrap it up and your lunch ready to go. So, flip over to Jerry now.
To me?
Yeah. How you going?
Yep. No. Am I on?
Yes.
Jerry, not
Hi. No. Look, while Mary and Tracy were doing their thing with their recipes, I did a couple of I added a couple of things. I added a tablespoon of tomato sauce, tomato paste, and then I added 50 and it asked for the recipe asked me to cook it for 2 minutes, so I did that, and then after that it asked for 50 grams of dry white wine, which I also use. I actually use the measuring cup because it's a measuring cup, the little line, and cooked for another 2 minutes. And then after that, it actually, I added tomatoes, which was just 2.5 tomatoes, just cut in quarters. So I didn't have to chop it really finely, which is fantastic. I hate chopping too much. So then after that, it was tomatoes, salt, pepper, sugar, and it only asks for a teaspoon of sugar. But if this is a low carb recipe and you are really strict about low carb, you can always use something called, like, similar to sugar. I have erythritol. I think that's how you pronounce it, erythritol. I think it's a kind of a tongue twister. And that is a really fantastic sugar substitute. And I buy it online. Or you can buy in Coles and Woolies, but I think that's mixed in with Monk's something, and stevia or something. They usually have it mixed, not pure erythritol. Well, I really can't pronounce it. Yeah, Monk's fruit. Yeah, that's it. That's it, the other one. So, and then I added stock paste, which is, I always have my stock paste in a huge jar. Look, it takes me a month and I go through it and it's done. Okay. So I don't actually freeze my stock paste because I use it so much. Anything that I cook in the Thermix, we will usually ask for it. And sometimes some of the stuff I cook, will ask for meat paste, because I don't use that. I actually just use my veggie stock paste and it also tastes fine. Okay. So if you don't want to go through the extra bother of actually using, making meat, although I've had people say that it's fantastic. So if you try the chicken stock paste or the meat stock paste, I don't know. I just use the veggie stock and I think it substitutes fine for everything. So I'm happy with that. Then I've added.
We're real meat eaters here and I hardly ever make the vegetable stock paste has such a lovely rounded flavour that it substitutes beautifully.
I agree. I so agree with that. So I've never found a need for that. And I know a lot of people who are meat eaters tell me that as well. Other consultants and everything. Then the porcini powder that I made in the beginning, I put that in 3 tablespoons of that. And then I cooked the whole thing. Oh, and 100 grams of water. And I cooked the whole thing for 15 minutes. And while it was cooking, I popped my zoodles on top. All right. So that 15 minutes has gone by, and I will show you. And this is the correct way to actually lift the lid of the baroma away from you so that you don't burn yourself. And this, when you turn it upside down, it acts as a base. And then I've got my zoodles that are now steamed. All right. And I've got this. Okay. And it looks like this still. But then there's a couple more things I have to add, which are the herbs. All right. So I'm going to click next to that on my screen. It asks for a dried bay leaf, which is here. I've got my own bay tree, so it's fantastic. I don't ever have to buy that. And if you guys ever want bay leaves, just ask me because I've got tons of it. Oh, it's a bit okay. And then 1 sprig of fresh rosemary. So I've got a rosemary here. And again, I think if you're a Thermomix cook, I think it's fantastic to actually grow your own herbs because it saves up so much money. And I always advise my customers, if they can, to actually start up a small herb garden, because herbs are usually the most expensive part of the recipe, because it's used in such small quantities, and sometimes you don't use up all of it and it can go bad. But I also tell them if they want to, they can always freeze it or dry it. All right. So then
Or make an oil.
I'll make an oil. That's a good idea too. Yes. All right. 1 to 1.5 teaspoon of dried oregano. So I've got that. 1.5, a heaped one, that heaped teaspoon. And insert the measuring cup into mixing bowl, and then it goes on for 5 minutes. At 100 degrees and speed 2 on reverse. Now, when I opened this up, and I'm not going to steam any more of the zoodles because I think it's fine. Actually, I should have maybe added it halfway through the recipe because I think it's a bit overdone. So don't put it in for all of that 15 minutes. Maybe at the halfway mark at 7.5 minutes or something like that. All right. Anyways. I was gonna say I saw quite a bit, some big chunks of tomatoes, but I'm not worried because if I find there are big chunks of tomatoes in there, I would just puree it a little bit or just chop it up a little bit at the end of the recipe. So again, Thermomix, you can adapt, however you want to do it, and it's really, really fantastic. So anyways, over to you, Tracy.
That's absolutely fantastic. And you're right, you can adapt them to whatever you like. It's amazing. I just want to show you one little dish before we do the rounds. So we're just going to go and do the rounds and show you our finished product. So I've made these little sweet cream desserts before, and they're using dried, the recipe says dried strawberries, but I've got dried blueberries. It's cream cheese, coconut oil, raspberries, a little bit of agave, and you just mix it down and you freeze them in these amazing molds. Look, if you guys haven't got these yet, jump onto the mix shop. This is the smaller one, and that's the size they come up. So they're about...
What are they called, Tracy? They're not mini muffins.
No, they're called Sphere, S-P-H-E-R-E, Sphere molds. And there's a bigger one as well.
That'd be great for chocolates.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They'd be awesome. So that's a great little one. They're called the strawberry and cream bites. So if you want to look them up, do so. I would highly recommend you make those. What else I've got?
Adding it to my list.
What collection they come from?
They're in the, I think they're in the low carb book as well.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. So here's my beautiful chicken teriyaki. which, as you said before, hot or cold as a salad, mix it up with whatever you like, eat it by itself. It's just amazing. And we've got our beautiful curry chicken wraps ready for lunches. This recipe was so easy and absolutely beautiful. So there you go.
Looks good.
Yeah. How's yours, Mez? Do you want to show us your little protein balls again?
Yes. I have a bit of a laugh because I've been eating them actually. I can't believe these are the ones I did make before because they've been in the fridge. That's the one I've just made just then. They're delicious. They are really, real. I can't believe how yummy these are. And I'm not just saying this for TV. I'm not a sweet girl and I don't find these sweet. They're just full of flavour.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
That's it. As I said, tart them up for Christmas or parties and you're ready and raring to go.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna make those, Mary, but I think I'm gonna substitute almonds for them because my daughter is allergic to peanuts. So I'll just use instead of peanut butter, instead of peanuts, I'll just use almonds.
If I had gone to bulk sauce today, Jerry, I would have used macadamias, and I think they would have worked really well too.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
There's a macadamia and vanilla protein ball. Look it up. Beautiful.
I often make one with macadamias, cacao powder, orange juice, orange rind, and coconut, and it's yummy too.
Yum, yum, yum. Thank you.
And Mary, don't forget to make hot chocolate out of that bowl later on.
Oh, I won't. Don't you worry. That might be my hot
That's the best part. Have you got a bowl of zoodles there, Jerry?
Yes, I've got a bowl of zoodles here. That's right.
Wow. So once the sauce is finished, is it nearly done or?
Yeah, it's got 19 seconds left. That's it.
Oh, I'd love to see you pour it over and then we might say goodbye to everyone and hope everyone's having a good night.
All right.
What do you think about these dishes, Belinda? Are you going to try a few?
I am not a mushroom fan, so I'm not doing that. But I have made the teriyaki chicken and it's really lovely. And I often like having the bliss balls when the kids are doing lots of sport because they're really quick snacks in the afternoon and they're great energy. So I've definitely added the strawberry cheese bites to tomorrow. So I'll make them tomorrow. I don't have dried strawberries, but I'll just use what fresh strawberries I've got. And I will definitely start looking into some more. I like just getting new inspiration. I think that's a great thing about the class.
Yeah, and the tops of them, they had dried, well, I used dried blueberries, but you could put a bit of slivered almonds or anything really, because that goes in the bottom of the mold.
I've even got some beetroot powder and that would give the colour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, that'd be gorgeous.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, Jerry.
The bolognese is done.
Yes, I'm done.
Yum. That looks yummy.
It does. And
it looks like
we are
meat.
going to. It does. That's why I love the and you can look if you don't like mushrooms. I mean, obviously you'll do
I do lentils actually.
Bolognese.
Lentil bolognese would be good.
Yeah, and I've also used TVP before. I've also used tofu before. So there are tons of different things I substitute. Even if I use a meat bolognese, there's a recipe that I really love as well called chunky bolognese. And it's a Skinny Mixes collection, and it uses a lot of celery and carrots, and that's why I like that recipe. But I think it uses around 700 grams of minced meat, and sometimes I just add tofu to that, you know? So there's a bunch of different bolognese recipes that I try. So
That's awesome. Okay. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Belinda, for manning our chat.
Thanks.
Jerry.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Bye,
Tracy.
everyone.
Bye, Belinda. Bye.
Make sure you reach out to your consultant regarding the Meals in a Flash book and the toolkit, which are available now. They've also got some very exciting news around your delivery process and Cookie Do. So we'll see you all soon.